Hi, this is Sherita Herring with Beverly Hills to Barnyard, and I'm so glad to welcome you here today. You're listening live to the WCEG network on WCEGtalkradio.com or watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, and the WCEG network. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Like WCEG on Facebook, follow on Twitter or Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio and at WCEG Network. Last but not least, the topics and opinions are those of the show hosts and guests and not the WCEG Network. Thank you so much for your continued support. So now, when I posted about my very special guest, Wendy Darling, and Wendy Darling is truly her name, I wanted to talk to you about this absolutely phenomenal woman who is the founder of the Miraculous Living Institute. With over 40 years of experience as a relationship and transformational results expert, she's a speaker, also seminar facilitator, management and organizational development consultant, master healer, and coach. She has created a unique and innovative system, the Miraculous Living Method, that allows you to get the results you want with greater ease and speed. Working with all facets of relationships, she works with singles who want to finally attract love in their life, and that's Attract Love Now, that program. Couples who want to replenish their relationship, and that's her Miraculous Loving. The relationship with body and health is Loving Yourself. And then while also focusing on business owners, executives, and their staff to strengthen the team for greater productivity and profits. So, but also, Wendy also trains and certifies coaches and practitioners in her programs and methodology. So, without any further ado, welcome, Wendy, my darling friend. How are you?
Hi, Sherita. I'm so glad that this is giving us the opportunity to connect.
Yes, yes. Facebook will fool us because you and I, we interact all the time on Facebook, but we literally haven't seen each other, since like 2019?
COVID has totally messed me up time-wise. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I think it was the last forum at CEO Space.
No, we've seen, yes, that
Yes,
would be correct.
yes.
But we've
So,
spoken on the phone since then.
yes, yes. Well, before we get into your wonderful books and all of that, you've made a major change and that a lot of people are afraid of to do at 25, 35, 45, but you have literally moved from coast to coast. What year did you do that and what led you to do that?
Yeah, that it's been almost 2 years ago. It will be June of this year, 2024.
Wow.
At the end of 2021, very early 2022, the person who I'd been in relationship with had a very honest conversation. And as much as we cared for each other, we both agreed we weren't quite right for each other. And so we completed that relationship. We actually redefined it. We're still in loose communication with each other. And so we had been living together, and that meant we both were going to find a different place to live. So I started just looking. I was living in San Diego at the time, my beloved Southern California.
Yeah.
And just that early checking, I would get this knot in my stomach. And I'm like, what's that about? And I'm very intuitive and I pay attention to those little signs or feelings.
Yes.
My thought was, am I being guided to move out of California? So I'm even thinking, yeah, it really was like that. And so I'm thinking, if I'm supposed to move, where would that be? Truthfully, you used to live in California. San Diego's gorgeous.
Yes.
That's a hard one to
That's a
beat.
hard one to leave. Yes.
Yeah, so I have friends that are in the New England area. So I took 2 weeks, rented a car, and spent part of February up in New England.
Yeah, I
As
remember
much
that.
as who doesn't want to be in New England in the wintertime? And and as much as I enjoyed the time, I felt no pull to move
No
there.
connection.
And
Yeah.
and there were other things that I did that we won't take time right now. But Sarasota, when I Googled best places to live after the age of 65 and probably some other things, and Sarasota kind of popped up. And we had taken a family vacation there, I think my freshman year in college. And I had a good friend that moved from Dallas to Sarasota. So I thought, why don't I check it out? And long story short, I came and it immediately felt right. I went, oh, this
Wow.
is where I'm supposed to be. So I literally moved on complete faith. I tried to find a place to lease while I was here, and that would have been like April or May.
Uh-huh.
Dates are eluding me in this moment,
Hmm.
and didn't find anything. And then there's even a cute story that I won't share, but I found the home that I leased online. So I
Wow.
leased it sight unseen. I had a realtor that was helping me. She did a virtual walkthrough with me.
Uh-huh.
And the main reason I believed was I was being guided to move to Sarasota to come into relationship with the love of my life.
Wow. You've said a mouthful of so many great little nuggets. For one, you had the faith to even consider to move. And you always talk about being over 70, which I love you for, because there's so often women will not talk about their age when we should celebrate every moment. Two, you went somewhere you didn't feel that first before you even did that. You're in a relationship. Do you know how much courage it takes? Well, but I'm also talking to my audience. Sometimes people stay in something just because of whatever reason, but it doesn't feel right. And for you and your partner to have that very healthy relationship, that very, conversation, that very eye-opening conversation that has still allowed you guys to, as you say, have a loose relationship.
Yeah.
I admire all of that, Wendy, and that's another reason why I'm so glad to have you on
Yeah,
because,
I think I appreciate you saying that because I've always had the belief, and you probably have heard the phrase, sometimes people come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
lifetime,
I've
yeah.
had seasons and I've had girlfriends that have been lifetime. But based on my history, based on my experience, based on now what I've done for many years professionally, I always believe that our inner wisdom is the wisest part of who we are. And I've
Yeah.
also learned if you don't pay attention to it, mischief will definitely find its way into your life.
Right,
And
right.
so I think a lot of times couples do stay together because they think they should, or
Hmm.
couples, or people are afraid, oh my gosh, I don't want to be alone, or it's going to be this, or it's going to be that.
Or
And
monetarily, it's better to stay together when money means nothing if your soul isn't singing, you know? And Wendy, the other thing that I want to touch on, a lot of times, see, you like that person before it bloomed into whatever relationship that it did. And it's so sad that we can't have those. I like how you said loose relationships, and it's not it's where you don't have to interact, but I don't hate you. And hopefully you don't hate me. And if we could still have that, and if we see each other, could hug and say, how is life? And is life good? That would
right.
be so healthy if we could do those, that kind of breaking up, but not broken up friendships.
Yeah, that's the person that at some point in time you probably were in hormonal overload. You were sleeping less, talking for hours. So
Yes.
don't forget that. Even though things have changed, I think people don't, and that's where the mischief comes in.
Yes.
People don't realize, oh, this isn't right for me any longer.
Hmm.
And so instead of acknowledging what's happening now, too often people try to find reasons and excuses how to depart, how to complete a relationship. And I think if we're more conscious and intentional, a lot of the yucky stuff that happens at times, it's not necessary.
I like another thing you just said, hormonal overload. You have such a way of communicating and saying words that even if people just learn to use those words, it would open their eyes up to what's going on right now and how things have shifted. And oh, we were in hormonal love overload at that time, but right now we're in this, and that doesn't mean that it's sour or whatever. So I love your language. Now, before we go further, there's a way for people to contact you, especially you do coaching for singles, couples, executives. How can they reach you?
Yeah, sure. The easiest thing is to go to my website, wendydarling.com. There's a way to schedule what I call a heart to heart, and we just talk to see what's going on and see if what I offer is a fit. And also, if you want to email me, it's wendy@wendydarling.com. But put
Okay.
in a very good subject line because probably like you, Sherita, I get way too many emails.
Right, right. Well, when you're in demand, lady, you're in demand. Do you have your books right there?
I don't. We just moved into our house
Oh,
last week.
and you know what? I
Nothing,
have your, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I have boxes, fortunately, that you cannot see. My office is the only thing left to unpack. So
I was telling her, I said, I've got Wendy's book, but it's in my storage. I got it in, so I didn't have your book up here. But
it's okay.
let's talk about your books because you are a best-selling author and you are known as the godmother of I mean the godmother of relationships. And tell us about your books.
Okay. So my first book is called The Miracle That Is Your Life.
Mhm.
And that was a lot of that has to do with the journey I take my clients on. So it really kind of walks you through the process. I'm a little biased. I like my second book better. It's called Create Your Miraculous Life. It's never too late. And I
Mhm.
started writing it more from the title, It's Never Too Late. But because of the Miraculous Living Institute, and obviously there's a whole story of how that came about. I never thought I would be in the quote miracle business, but here I am. And Create Your Miraculous Life. It's Never Too Late also offers a lot of information and ideas in the different areas of your life, whether it be health, wealth, love. Those are obviously the most common. I have stories from clients and people that I love and know.
I
So,
put it up on the screen so we
oh,
can see
there it
it.
is.
Yes. And then your other is right here, of course, and you've been featured in Forbes.
I have.
Yeah. So Wendy, when did you write this first the miracle that is your life?
Oh, Sherita, it's been several years ago. It's probably been 8, guessing. I don't remember. And then
Well,
the
I figured
second
that
book.
it was after 60, and that's what I wanted to bring out.
Oh
Because
yeah,
people
yeah.
always think that if they didn't do something before midlife, oh, I haven't accomplished anything. And Wendy, you keep developing into another person and a better person and things that are helping individuals. And I just want my audience to know that it is never too late. It's
Never. I
never,
believe that in every ounce of my body. If there
yeah,
is a desire in your heart, it is your truth, period. And
yes.
it's just a matter of looking at where you are, where you want to be, and closing the gap. And I
Hmm.
guess in some ways, I'm a gap closer. So,
Yes.
so I help people close that gap and really get the results that they want. And that is even why I don't know how it happened, Shrita, but that's how I got the nickname as a fairy godmother.
Yes.
I
Yes.
help people turn their wishes and dreams into reality.
I
Pretty good
witnessed it,
job.
Wendy. There were staff and faculty that we both were interacting with for years when we were teaching at CEO Space. And I would see a change in someone and found out that they had worked with you. And
Oh,
these were people that I would see, and even Bernie bragged about what you were doing, God rest his soul, but bragged about how you were helping them in their marriage. And when you have someone that is a global leader in business strategy, motivation, and everything, and he works with you, Wendy Darling, for his personal life, that says a lot. And I'm saying this to my audience, please don't feel stuck. This is the reason that I bring these magnificent people to you that have impacted my life, because Wendy truly does that. And now, Wendy, you are, tell us something exciting that also is going on in Sarasota that's enhancing your career.
Oh, well, quite honestly, I've been a little bit on pause because I came into a relationship last year.
Hormonal overload.
But
You're in hormonal overload.
no,
No,
actually,
you're not.
the easiest, smoothest, most natural experience I've ever had,
Oh,
ever.
good.
Yeah,
I'm
he's an
so glad to hear that.
amazing, amazing, amazing man. We both feel very, very blessed.
You're
And
giving
there's
me,
even a
you're
beautiful
inspiring me.
story behind that.
You're
And
really giving me hope, Wendy, that,
oh, please.
it's,
Yes, because, and that is part of the reason I'm so happy at 72 that I hope I can inspire people, that it really is never too late. As you said, I took a huge leap of faith. Who does that? Moving from San Diego to Sarasota, Florida.
yeah, yeah,
And you know, by the way, hardly knowing a soul. And you can appreciate that because you
yeah,
also made a major move several years ago. And
yes,
and so, it's just yeah, and I will admit, I had my moments. I
hmm,
had my moments of, okay, is this when I can honestly say I'm certifiably nuts? It's this is it.
yeah, yeah.
And there were moments where I felt loneliness. But they
Well, that's
weren't many.
real. Yes, that's real. I mean, and the thing is that, and this is what I even said to a couple of my cousins, I can always go back to Los Angeles, or I can always go back to what I was doing, but why
Yeah.
not try something new?
Yeah.
And so, and it's rewarding in so many ways. Go ahead, darling.
And my business is not location specific. Almost everybody I work with, I work on Zoom. On rare occasions, people come here. We do some
Yes,
intensive work. But,
yes.
this is the gift of technology today. So, to answer your question, I had not been offering publicly my Attract Love Now program
Uh-huh.
because I was not in relationship, and I have to be in integrity with what I offer. But now that I'm in integrity, I'll soon be offering that program again. And of course, people can work with me one-on-one as well. But so the clients that I have, I have a couple, for example, that own a very fast growing commercial and residential building company.
Hmm.
Um, and so I work with them both as their business individually and as a couple because they work together.
Hmm.
And I want you to know we just went through whew, a very, shall I say, a very interesting time. And it was the same way, and it's very public when I worked with September and Bernie Dorman. You
Hmm.
know, Bernie and I worked together first, and then I was brought in and was part of the leadership group. And then September eventually also worked with me, and I worked with them as a couple. And those are ideal clients because I get to do all of that because I have a business background where I've worked with leaders, executives, and teams. That was my lane. And then I had a really serious accident now, I don't know, 30 some years ago, where I passed out at the Dallas airport before I was flying from Dallas to LA, fell
Hmm.
over a ledge and fell 25 feet. And that, did you not know that?
Now it's coming to my mind because you also used to teach, right? And then something happened. We talked about this, but I had forgotten.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
during recovery, well, still in the hospital, my former husband came suitcases packed saying he no longer wished to be married any longer. And even though I take my fair share of the responsibility that brought us to that point, we might agree the timing wasn't exactly
Yeah,
optimal. Not
yeah.
that it ever would be. And it was about 10, 11 months and multiple surgeries because I shattered my right leg that I knew I would walk again, which I do. Some of that's kind of coming back to haunt me now. And then around
But
week,
it's glory.
yeah. And that's also when I began, because when we went to court,
Mm-hmm.
my former husband was awarded full custody of our son, who was only 4.5 at the time. And something in me snapped. And my mom, of all people, suggested that maybe I might want to learn how to meditate. And to cut to the chase, because there's more detail, I went to somebody to learn how to meditate. And this is when I start receiving my healing and transformational gifts, which is now the miraculous living method. So I didn't go to school for it, but I have the ability, excuse me, to see what energetically the interference within you that's causing misalignment. And what I really love is we don't have to figure out what happened and when.
Right.
It just, the process dissolves it. And there is a brain training component also that
Uh-huh.
helps to get the mind to be in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So, so those are the things that I do now.
Yeah.
And because I'm in the Sarasota community, some of you people may not know, it's retirement heaven. And I want to be working with seniors so that they, in this phase of their life, find purpose and meaning and still make some level of contribution.
Okay. Okay. Well, now, you know, again, you are so transparent in who you are, the feelings that you feel, and what you've gone through. But those it's the real life experiences that give us what we need in order to do what we do and why we do it.
Yeah.
So it's the way that you handle your journey that I have always admired. And so I just think that you are just the most amazing person. What I'd like to do, Wendy, is I love that we are having the personal conversations today, but I would like to bring you back and talk about now your different components that you teach and work with your clients. Is that okay?
Of course.
Good, good, good. Because we're so similar in some of the things that we've done in our life, and even my move here did. I had some thoughts like, okay, how's it going to work? Moving from Southern California to Arkansas, I had those thoughts. But Wendy, when you just have faith, faith in God, faith in yourself, faith that no matter what comes up, that you can handle it. And yes, there's going to be times that we feel lonely. Yes, there's going to be times that we may even think, was this the right move? But when it starts feeding your soul so deep, you just know. It's almost like how they say when a person's buying a home, when you walk in that home, you feel when it's the right home. It's the same thing when we step into something new. And so
Yeah.
I admire your strength. And again, you just always inspire me. So
Oh, thanks.
now in Southern, and you didn't have those relationships in Sarasota, but because you've been virtual so long and interacted with people all over the world, what does it feel like in dealing with your relationships that you would see daily in San Diego, but now you don't see daily? What's that feel like for you?
Yeah, there's a little sadness about that because some relationships have kind of gone away, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and some have maintained. But I'm a connector and I'm a relationship person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blessed. I have friends everywhere because I have lived in California. I lived in Dallas.
Uh-huh.
I'm originally from Ohio. I went to college in Missouri a few times. So, I have bopped around. And having just moved last week into our home, it's like, you're going to have to wheel me out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't keep
Mm-hmm.
moving anymore.
Yeah, well, again, and each time we are who we are. So each time you handled the move in your windy way and made it work.
Yeah,
Um,
it's so funny too because I have cousins that live in Tampa, and Tampa's about an hour away from where I live. And my cousin Harry, he's my cousin by marriage. They've been together over 50 years. He's kind of poo-pooing me a little bit because they were happy I moved, but I'm saying, yeah, I moved here because I know I'm going to meet the love of my life and come into relationship. And then when Steve actually came into my life, he's like, he said, I will never doubt you ever again. I was like, oh, thank you.
Well, Wendy, I don't know if you remember, I had written this thing called Driving Towards Success, where we treat our life like it's a bus. And all the different people we meet are on that bus. So those relationships that have maybe kind of dwindled a little bit may pop up again, one or other. And now you're driving, but they're on seat number 3 right behind you for whatever reason is going on in your life.
Yeah.
So I've gotten where I don't worry about, as long as I'm being the best friend, the best sister, the best client, the best neighbor that I can be, I don't worry when a relationship kind of may not be as active as it has been, because I just know that it's just the shift of life. And I pray that it's not something that I've done offensively to someone, but that's what I do. But Wendy, we're down to about 4 minutes in the show. Again, please provide your information, how they can reach you, whether it's email, website, whatever.
Yeah, so my website is wendydarling.com, my name, to email me. And there's a place on the website that you can schedule a complimentary heart to heart. That's what I call them. Just to get to know each other, figure out what it is you're wanting, and seeing if I'm a fit for you or not.
Yes.
And then my email address is wendy@wendydarling.com. And if you even put Sherita's name in the subject line, just make sure it pops out, because like many of us, we get way too many emails and have to spend so much time delete.
Yes, yes. Well, Wendy, I want to thank you on, and we're going to set up your part 2, because then I want to talk about your components of helping relationships. And so thank you so much for being on today, my dear darling.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm delighted that this was our excuse that we got to connect.
Yes, yes, yes. And to my audience, I've got a lot of things coming up. And so for those of you that have questions about grants, business plans, board of directors, join me on April 5th. It's every first Friday that I do my free Q&A. You can go to my website at philanthropyalliance.org, and that's where you can click on Q&A with Sherita. I think that's what it's called, or meeting with Sherita. And also, if you would like to receive the free grant info that we send out, register on my website under Contact Us. And then we have a very special workshop that's coming up on the 20th of April. Please, 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 if you are in the Arkansas area of Central Arkansas, join me at the historic Rialto Theater. Whether you are a farmer or someone that teaches financial literacy, and a teacher, an administrator, someone starting a new business, did you know that there are grants here in rural Arkansas to start a business that someone like Wendy could not start with the same dollars in Sarasota, because it is an urban area versus rural? There is so much money available if you are in areas, especially under 150,000 people or less. So please don't miss this upcoming grants workshop, because millions of dollars go back every year here in Arkansas, because people just don't know that the grants are available. And yes, you can make a profit as a nonprofit. Yes, as a for-profit, you can also go after grants, especially if you are collaborating with a nonprofit. So please don't miss this upcoming workshop. It's April 20th at the Rialto Theater in Marlton, Arkansas. When you go to the website at philanthropyalliance.org, you click on the tab that says Grant Workshop at the Rialto. And it's as simple as that. And guess what? It's only $15. Only $15. So again, this is Sherita Herring with Beverly Hills to Barnyard. Thank you for joining me and my very special guest, Wendy Darling. I will be bringing her back for part 2. Have an absolutely phenomenal week, and we will see you next week. Same time, same bat channel.